Before we talk about the travel restraint kit, let's be clear when fall protection is required. Anytime our employees or anybody that we're responsible for is exposed to a fall greater than 4 feet, we have an obligation to provide fall protection. That fall protection can come in many forms, but in essence, we need to provide fall protection. Examples of places where you may be exposed to this are within 6 foot from a leading edge, and that could include elevator shafts, construction sites, below grade retention ponds, trenches, or anything with a fall hazard. The fall protection industry has a hierarchy of fall protection. Step one would be to eliminate the hazard altogether. We really can't do that most of the time on the incident scenes that we respond to, which brings us to the second layer is passive fall protection. And that's things like handrails, whether they're put in place or field expedient, which would prevent anybody from falling because of the rails that are in place. And then the third layer is travel restraint. And those kind of systems prevent you from being able to travel far enough to be exposed to fall in the first place. And then step four are fall arrest systems. And fall arrest systems are an example of an employee falling on a system and catching a shock load, and a little beyond the scope of this video. But anytime you're exposed to a fall hazard greater than 4 foot towards some leading edge, and the example that we have here would be an elevator shaft, then you need fall protection. If you crack these doors greater than 12 inches, anybody at the edge should be in fall protection. So what can that fall protection look like? The second layer would be putting in some sort of mitigating hazard, be it a handrail. Maybe we catch some furniture in the elevator lobby and stash it up against this thing. Those would be expedient barriers. And then the next layer would be travel restraint. And that's the piece that we want to provide the opportunity for truck companies to have as a travel restraint kit. And that's where you would use a section of rope that's adjustable that would allow you to travel to the edge but not far enough to fall. And that's the key element of travel restraint, is that you don't want to be able to travel far enough to fall. So in those circumstances, you should only be able to get to here, and then the rope goes snug and prevents you from traveling any further. When you use travel restraint, things like belts and lanyards and those kind of things are acceptable. But if there's slack in that rope, then that can expose you to an actual fall. And if you would fall on that equipment, then that is called fall arrest. We don't want to be in a fall arrest circumstance. When you're exposed to actual falls, you need full body harnesses, systems that are rated to catch that falling load, and a bunch of technical jargon that is unnecessary. Whereas if we can just put in a travel restraint system, then that solves that problem. All right, this is the truck company travel restraint kit. You have a pencil rope bucket. You have a 60-foot Grion, or 20 meters, carabiner on each end, and then you've got a ladder belt of sorts. It's not quite a ladder belt, but very similar to the ladder belts you have on your ladder companies, and then an anchor strap. So this would be the kit. All fits in the bag, rolls down, stores nice and compact, and then you can pull it out for use. The belt's pretty simple, a no-brainer. You just put the belt on like any other belt. It's got a buckle you just snap close and then cinch it up. Belt's done. And then you can decide which end you want to anchor your Grion. The Grion is an adjustable lanyard. It is not energy absorbing, so you do not want to expose it to a fall. But it's perfect for travel restraint. All right, the first piece in using this elevator kit, once you've identified that you need it, is you're going to need an anchor point. Anchors is a deep subject, but specifically we want you to just find a single anchor point and be able to anchor this travel restraint kit up. As I look in this particular elevator lobby, some things that stick out is you've got these inward swinging doors. We can put a New York cook chalk behind the door. Depending on how substantial the hinges are, you could grab a hinge, maybe 2 hinges. We could go out this door. You've got another inward swinging door. We could do a New York cook chalk. We could go to occupancy further down, wrap around a construction feature. Lots of different options for that. But I think one that you'll find pretty straightforward and simple is this New York cook chalk. So actually, if you don't mind holding this up right here for us. So we got a New York cook chalk. You'll have an anchor strap in the kit. As simple as putting a choke, sometimes known as a girth hitch, on the anchor strap. And then we're going to just put this behind the door. You'll pick that through that. All right. And then we allow the door to close, which will engage the full jam. And now you've got it chalked behind the door. And this will be our anchor point. I want to show you this New York cook chalk from the other side. So here I've chosen to choke my anchor strap to the New York hook. In this case, I've got a good door set in concrete. I'm going to fish this through to somebody on the other side. They can pull that through, make sure that this seats up nice and well against the door. And then as you close this against the jamb, you're relying on the jamb all the way around to provide support for the New York hook. Now, as far as strength goes, because everybody's going to ask how strong this is, we went out a few years ago and did some pull testing on these. And what we found is somewhere around 1,000 to 1,500 pounds, these New York hooks begin to bend and distort in a manner which you wouldn't really like it any more than that. The good news is that's plenty strong enough for travel restraint, but you would not want to count on this for a primary anchor point for like a rope-based system that you might rig a hauler or lower off of. Now then, as we interface the Grion with it, you've got two choices. You've got the adjustable end and the fixed end. If you have an experienced member, you may choose to anchor the fixed end to your anchor point and then attach your adjustable end to your member. And then that can be traveled out to our fall hazard. So in this case, if these elevator doors were open, and maybe I'm the person that's about to open them, I get it set where the length is snug between me and the anchor, so there's no opportunity for me to fall. Once I get it fixed, I'm going to tie it off with a half hitch and an overhand or a second half hitch, whichever variety you're into. And now I have my travel restraint in place. Now then, if you've got a member that's maybe not experienced, but you want to get them out at the edge and give them some experience, what we could do is swap these two out. And so we put the adjustable end on the anchor, we put an experienced member at the anchor connection, hook the fixed end to the member, allow them to adjust the member out to the leading edge. Once they're set, we tie it off with a half hitch, an overhand, or a series of 2 half hitches. Okay, now then, one piece that we really have to emphasize is that this system is intended to restrict your travel. At no point should you be hanging from this rope. At any moment in time, you're leaning into the rope to look over an edge. If that rope were to get cut and you would go over, you're not in the right place. This needs to be restraining your travel only. So don't rely on the ropes or the belt to support any of your weight. It's just travel restriction only. All right, another place where you want travel restriction is a leading edge like we have here, where that parapet gives you a false sense of security, thinking that you have fall protection, but it's not that 42-inch high handrail that's required by OSHA. So if you were to approach this edge standing upright, you would need to be in fall protection. And so the travel restraint kit would be a perfect opportunity to use that. So I'm going to use this window washer anchor. I'm going to adjust myself out to the edge to a place where I cannot fall. So I'm at the edge, and now I'm going to tie it off. Again, the tie off is either a half hitch and overhand or 2 half hitches. And now I'm in travel restraint. I can't travel far enough to fall off the edge, but yet I'm at the leading edge where I can address the problem, communicate and coordinate with people below. As you're in search of the elevator car, you're going to have to crack these hoistway doors open to find the car. And so the right way to do that is to activate the elevator key, open it up no more than 12 inches. Shine the light up and down. As long as it's not open greater than 12 inches, you don't need the fall protection. But the instant you want to crack this open wider than 12 inches, then you need to have fall protection in place in the travel restraint kit. So I've got my travel restraint in place. I've adjusted myself out. I'm going to tie that off with my half hitch and overhand or series of 2 half hitches. That's going to restrain my travel from falling. Now I can crack this thing open all the way. At which point I can use either a flathead axe or an elevator door tool like we have here. Put that in place and lock the doors open. All right, as we're working around this elevator shaft, we will recommend that if you can reach it with a ladder and you have handrails on the top of the elevator car, then you can proceed and do your work. People that are on the ladder, as long as they're competent and able-bodied, they don't need any fall protection. But the people that are working at this edge do need fall protection. And a concern that I personally have is if we have a civilian climbing up and out of this elevator shaft on a ladder and they reach up to the top and they grab me, they could potentially pull me into the elevator shaft. So anybody that's not immediately getting on the ladder or getting off the ladder needs to be in travel restraint. As we're working in this elevator shaft, anybody that's in the shaft should have a helmet on. That's a professional way to approach things. If you drop anything from up here, then you need that helmet to protect your head.
All right, so as you look at the top elevator cars, some of them will have handrails around the outside, or what OSHA would call guardrails, and some won't. This one in particular does not. And so that edge that you see there on the left is an exposed edge to the elevator shaft. So in this instance, you need fall protection on top of the car in addition to here at the hoistway door. So in this case, I would recommend calling or upgrading the alarm to a rescue task force so that fall arrest systems can be rigged from the floor above to provide fall protection for people that are on top of this car.